Amidst all the chaos and turmoil, Alice only wished for a normal life. A day without fighting, a day without running. She just wanted to live simply beside the people she loved. But life was never that easy. Alice once thought that just by changing her name and moving elsewhere, everything would start anew. But the past was not so easy to escape, and her true identity would eventually be revealed. Alice had the cheerful, innocent appearance of an ordinary high school student. But behind that naive face, she was an assassin trained from a young age. Alice was skilled in firearms and martial arts and could escape pursuit from the organization. That organization was infamous for its cruelty, known for training children into professional killers. When an assassin was killed, their child would be forced to inherit the merciless job of murder. Alice was one of the chosen. She became the organization's most outstanding warrior. Alice had survived many deadly hunts in the assassin's game called the Cage. Even when surrounded, she withdrew safely without killing anyone during her escape. At the age of 18, Alice used a sniper rifle to escape the top-secret facility. However, the organization did not forgive traitors. They quickly sent people after her. One of the pursuers was her former trainer, the one who knew Alice better than anyone else. He believed that even when cornered, Alice would not pull the trigger to kill her former teacher. Indeed, even while being threatened, Alice hesitated to pull the trigger and finish him off. She only acted when she saw someone oppressing or harming others. Exploiting that weakness, the trainer tried to disarm and kill Alice. A sudden gunshot rang out. Alice counterattacked and quickly gained the upper hand, yet the assassin still believed she wouldn't dare take his life. But in the end, Alice fired, ending the threat with a fatal bullet. She then fled the forest, leaving behind a past drenched in blood and chaos. During her escape, she encountered a man-Ban, the leader of the assassin squad and the father of a girl who had died within the organization. Ban hadn't come to kill Alice, he only wanted a chance to save his child. Alice lowered her weapon and informed him that his daughter had died 2 years earlier. Ban stood frozen, but with his severe injuries, he had few options left. He decided to save Alice, offering her the identity of his lost daughter. From that moment on, Alice took on a new life, adopting the name Han-jae, the very name of the daughter Ban had failed to protect. Han-jae became a well-behaved, sweet high school student, yet she couldn't avoid trouble from other students. Former classmates harassed her, eventually forcing Han-jae to transfer schools. With fake documents provided by Ban, she was accepted into a new school. As soon as she arrived, the teacher led Han-jae to the dormitory. The moment the teacher left, a long-haired girl rummaged through her suitcase. Yang wasn't afraid at all. She even taught Han-jae some harsh street rules. Wanting a peaceful school life, Han-jae decided to endure and get along. She practiced in front of the mirror, rehearsing how to invite the other two girls to eat together in a friendly way. However, the two girls acted arrogant and didn't want to go with her. In the end, Han-jae had no choice but to eat alone in silence. On her way back, Han-jae saw someone being dragged into a quiet alley. At first, she didn't intend to intervene since it wasn't her business. But after a day of being irritated by her roommates, she wanted to relieve some stress. Han-jae figured the unlucky ones in this situation were just those guys. She put her shopping bag aside and headed straight for the group, causing trouble. A woman tried to stop Han-jae, but she quickly locked her neck and slammed her down. The rest of the group rushed at her, but Han-jae blinked and took down 2 thugs. When they swung bats at her, she responded with a series of rapid punches. Finally, powerful kick knocked one of them out cold. Han-jae pinned her foot on his neck and pressed gently until he lost consciousness completely. Seeing the injured guy, Han-jae was about to check on him unexpectedly. Soyo was staring at her in a daze. That calm expression of his made Han-jae irritated. The fire in her chest, which had just settled down, flared up once again. Han-jae immediately reached out and choked the unconscious man. She wanted to teach him a lesson. Unexpectedly, the opponent passed out again after just a few seconds of being strangled. Back in the past, 2 rival factions had been fiercely confronting each other. One side had many tall and strong people, while the other was fewer in number and clearly weaker. However, on the battlefield, the situation was completely reversed. The white-shirted thugs fell to the ground one by one, unable to resist. Even the leader of the white-shirted group had to kneel and sing a song of surrender. The one who took the most hits was none other than Soyo, the central figure. Since childhood, he had been addicted and frequently beaten brutally. Soyo had an extraordinary tolerance for pain. Thanks to this talent, he often appeared wherever violence broke out. Soyo actively picked fights with the senior bullies at school. Because of his incredible endurance, the white-shirted gang gradually became exhausted. In the end, Soyo made them swear never to bully the weak again. Although he was still occasionally dragged out and beaten, this time he had been saved in time. After being choked unconscious, Soyo slept deeply until morning. This left him confused. He didn't know who had saved him. But soon, he met the mysterious girl again. Han-jae had once been a top assassin but was determined to escape the organization. She only wanted a peaceful life far from danger. On her first first day at the new school, Han-jae's identity was unexpectedly exposed. The one who discovered it was none other than So-yo. This made Han-jae deeply anxious and uneasy. She was even more shocked when So-yo sat right next to her. So-yo then loudly asked a question, causing everyone to look at her strangely. Han-jae was so embarrassed she didn't know where to hide her face. She was about to say something when So-yo suddenly began convulsing and collapsed to the floor. The friends who were used to this condition calmly took him to the infirmary. After class, Yang pretended to look for Han-jae to talk. She warned Han-jae not to pay attention to So-yo because he was the prince in her heart. Han-jae was very happy and enthusiastically supported Yang in confessing to So-yo. But Han-jae didn't know that So-yo could only think about her even in his dreams. In class, So-yo always stared at Han-jae, not looking away even during exams. Han-jae had to use her hand to cover her face, and sometimes the teacher helped shield her. As soon as the teacher turned away, So-yo stared at the girl beside him again. Unable to take it anymore, Han-jae asked him directly. So-yo wrote 3 words in his notebook asking who she was. Wanting to avoid trouble, Han-jae told him he had mistaken her for someone else, and told him to focus on the test. So-yo then wrote another line that moved her. He said he could only think about her all day. The two exchanged glances, unexpectedly witnessed by Yang. That night, Yang complained to her friends about Han-jae. The long-haired girl had discovered something important about Han-jae at school. A video showed a hooded woman fighting with 3 or 4 men. Although the footage was dark, Han-jae's familiar figure could still be recognized. Yang treated the video like a treasure and wasn't afraid. She went straight to the dorm to threaten Han-jae. Han-jae's gaze turned cold, as if she were seeing a disaster approaching. Yang screamed that if she didn't want anyone to know about her dark past, she should stay away from So-yo. Hearing that condition, Han-jae sighed in relief. She agreed immediately. That was exactly what Han-jae had wanted, but an unexpected turn still awaited her ahead. The next day, So-yo took advantage of gym class to lure Han-jae to the rooftop. Not only did he lock the door, but he also declared he wanted to fight her. So-yo wasn't just good at taking hits. His uncle had trained him in professional boxing. His uncle was a national boxing champion with over 15 years of experience. Thanks to this mentor, So-yo had even defeated his uncle once. He wanted Han-jae to admit her assassin identity and reveal her true skills. The fight began, but Han-jae still refused to acknowledge it. Even as So-yo attacked, she responded with a harmless, cute demeanor. Frustrated, he insisted she show her real self. Seeing no other choice, Han-jae finally fought seriously, and within seconds, she knocked So-yo flat on his face. Men's words really couldn't be trusted. By the time So-yo regained consciousness, afternoon classes had already ended. The whole class knew the two had skipped school together. Spurred on by Yang, everyone gathered on the rooftop, phones ready to catch them red-handed. This was Han-jae's worst fear since escaping the assassin organization. If her photo got leaked online, her cover would be blown instantly. So-yo and Han-jae quickly found a chimney and climbed down just before the crowd burst in. This infuriated Yang, who had planned to blackmail Han-jae with footage of the fight. But Han-jae immediately shifted the narrative, claiming the people in the video had assaulted a classmate she'd only stepped in to stop. Bad guys. If Yang wanted to be a bad guy too, Han-jae wouldn't mind making another video. Her words terrified Yang, who fled the dorm without another word. Yet what Han-jae didn't expect was So-yo ignoring her the next day. Because of the rooftop incident, her true identity was nearly exposed, and in her panic, she'd said things that reopened So-yo's old wounds. Han-jae wondered why So-yo, who usually watched her every move, didn't even glance at her today. This unfamiliar treatment unsettled her. Despite her repeated attempts to engage, he kept ignoring her. After careful consideration, Han-jae decided to call him. Before the call could connect, Yang, missing all day, suddenly appeared. She demanded Han-jae meet her on the rooftop. Upon arriving, Han-jae found the same gangsters looking for trouble. But to save phone credit and create an excuse to see So-yo, she let them capture her. So-yo soon received messages from the gangsters, photos of a tied-up Han-jae. His phone rang simultaneously. Han-jae could handle herself, he muttered. Hearing this, Han-jae laughed angrily. Ignored all day, now kidnapped, and he still didn't care. She ordered the thugs to redial, demanding to speak directly to that blockhead. The moment the call connected, she unleashed a torrent of curses, giving So-yo no chance to respond. "I need to talk to you, get here now." She hung up immediately. The baffled gangsters exchanged glances. Her words were, So-yo arrived, panting moments later. Han-jae instantly beamed, but before she could speak, the gang leader emerged behind So-yo, knocking him out cold. The leader didn't let So-yo get close to Han-jae. At that moment, Yang boldly stepped forward to provoke Han-jae. To hide her identity, she endured it and let it pass like the last time. But this time, she had the audacity to slap Han-jae, an insulting act that truly enraged her. Yang didn't realize it. She even tore Han-jae's clothes in front of everyone. Initially, Clearly, Han Jae only intended to use them to lure So-yo to the rooftop for a talk. Little did she expect the other side wanted to kill both of them there. When Yang Yang saw Han Jae's painful wounds and scars, she froze for a few seconds. But what Han Jae didn't anticipate was that despite So-yo being beaten black and blue, he still didn't forget to confess his feelings to her. Just this action alone made Yang Yang, who secretly loved So-yo, furious. She reached for her phone to take a picture, but upon seeing the scars on Han Jae's body, Yang Yang immediately stood still in fear. But it was too late. Han Jae freed herself from the restraints and subdued Yang Yang. Her anger erupted uncontrollably. Seeing Han Jae about to finish Yang Yang, So-yo rushed to stop her but was blocked by the thugs. Realizing So-yo was being beaten, Han Jae turned to fight back. Their eyes met, then they lost balance and fell to the courtyard. Fortunately, it wasn't life-threatening. The thugs immediately called an ambulance. The first to regain consciousness was So-yo. Thanks to his strong endurance, his body was tougher than an average person's. When he noticed Han Jae's slightly unbuttoned shirt, he reached to fasten it for her. Unexpectedly, Han Jae woke up in a critical state. Just as So-yo was about to explain, Han Jae suddenly asked, "Who are you?" Due to a head injury, Han Jae temporarily lost her memory, but the killer instincts within her remained strong. When she encountered the reporter taking photos, Han Jae immediately grew anxious. The assassin organization never gave up. They were always hunting her, so she couldn't let any pictures of herself be leaked online. The reporter, eager for a raise, pulled out his camera and snapped photos of two. Sensing danger, Han Jae swiftly grabbed the camera. Her nerves on edge, she pinned So-yo down and shouted incomprehensible words. So-yo calmly reassured her, helping Han Jae settle down somewhat. By then, the reporter had already fled with the photos. Han Jae returned to the dorm. Hearing that she had temporary amnesia, Yang Yang pretended to be a caring friend, showering her with flattery. But though Han Jae had lost her memory, she wasn't stupid. She could clearly see the fear in Yang Yang's eyes was fake. Han Jae immediately exposed her lies and kicked her out. Just as Han Jae was about to search for information about herself, her phone buzzed with a notification. Opening it, she saw her photo on a news site. The article mentioned So-yo as a high school student and revealed that at 18, she had escaped the assassin organization. The assassins had been tracking her for months, and now they had fresh leads. The organization's boss was laughing maniacally upon seeing her picture. Suddenly, Han Jae remembered something and scrutinized the details. Her assassin instincts warned her not to stay long. Forces would soon come for her. She hurriedly packed her things, preparing to flee. So-yo also sensed the danger and rushed out, blocking her path in the hallway. After a brief discussion, the two decided to leave together. Before departing, Han Jae needed to retrieve her personal documents from the office. However, to their surprise, they couldn't find her file anywhere. There was a profile with her photo and name, but the details inside were completely mismatched. Suddenly, Han Jae heard footsteps approaching. A faint noise echoed in the hallway, putting her instantly on alert. She signaled So-yo to stay silent, but he wasn't paying attention. In fact, he carelessly tore up the file. Luckily, at the last second, they managed to hide under the desk. The intruder turned on the lights, sat at the desk, and opened a drawer to retrieve a phone which displayed Han Jae's photo. Fortunately, the person didn't stay long. After switching off the lights, that person left. The two quickly got up and moved toward where the man had been sitting. Just as Han Jae was about to call So-yo back, the lights flicked on again, revealing a man standing there. Unexpectedly, it was So-yo's PE teacher. Using his authority as a teacher, the man tested whether So-yo knew his true identity. Though So-yo claimed ignorance, his continuous retreat betrayed the truth. The assassin didn't hesitate. He struck immediately. Han Jae appeared, but weakened by amnesia. She barely took 2 steps before being recaptured. The assassin slammed her head against the table repeatedly, watching her teeter on the edge of unconsciousness. So-yo intervened just in time. This enraged the fake teacher, who decided to kill them both. He spun and delivered 4 crushing blows to So-yo, even pulling out a pen to stab him. Fortunately, So-yo, a boxing champion, reacted instantly, locking the man in a chokehold and biting his hand hard. As the assassin writhed in pain, So-yo grabbed Han to escape, but Han Jae refused to flee. Her strength had returned. Done holding back, she stood to eliminate the threat. Her moves turned lethal, each strike calculated to disable. Against the assassin disguised as a teacher, she showed no mercy. Within moments, she'd completely immobilized him. Picking up scissors, she prepared a final blow until So-yo snapped her out of it and dragged her away. By then, 2 underlings from the assassin syndicate had spotted Han Jae. They began plotting their next pursuit. After escaping school, So-yo and Han Jae sought a motel to rest, only to argue over who'd rent the room. Finally, Han Jae produced her real ID card, revealing her true age to be 22, surprisingly older than So-yo. With the receptionist's patient guidance, the two successfully rented a room. The atmosphere between them grew slightly awkward. Later, Han Jae opened up completely to So-yo. She confessed that when she fled fled the assassin organization. She had taken confidential documents listing their secrets, the reason they were hunting her so relentlessly. She even showed Seo where she'd hidden the critical files. That night, they slept together in the room, sharing sweet happiness. In her dream, Han-jae saw herself as an ordinary girl dating Seo, a peaceful, joyful scene. However, the next morning, when Seo went to buy breakfast, he noticed strangers sitting in every parked car outside. Simultaneously, Ban Hanja's trusted uncle received an urgent message after finishing work. Opening it, he found Hanjae's photo. Realizing the gravity, Ban immediately called her. When the call connected, Hanjae unexpectedly asked that who was that. Ban had no time to explain. He urgently asked if she was safe. Only after her confirmation did he reveal a secret known only to them, the small green bag Hanjae had discovered last night while preparing to escape. To this moment, its contents remained unknown. However, this wasn't the time for detailed explanations. Based on the assassin organization's usual methods, Ban guessed they would launch a surprise attack. He instructed Han-jae and Seo to flee to a crowded area, saying to pick them up in a black SUV. Unexpectedly, before they could hang up, the assassins arrived. Seo and Han-jae immediately escaped, darting through streets while evading attacks. The assailants eventually cornered them in a narrow alley, even attempting to inject them with syringes. Fortunately, Han-jae's innate assassin instinct surfaced. She swiftly neutralized all attackers. Just then, Seo spotted a black car approaching what seemed like their rescue, but it was a trap. Both were quickly subdued and shoved into the trunk. When Ban arrived, he found them trapped inside. The smug driver sped toward the hideout. At a red light, fearing a ticket, the driver reversed a fatal mistake. When the light turned green, Ban's SUV rammed the black car head-on without hesitation. Ban didn't overthink it. He blocked the assassin's car, and both sides stepped out, ready to fight. Clearly prepared, Ban took down the assassins in mere moves. The black car lay defeated, unable to resist. But Ban wasn't done. He slammed a car door into an opponent's head, threw them to the ground, grabbed their hair, and unleashed a relentless barrage of blows. Ban's icy glare revealed his determination to eliminate the assassins. As he picked up a weapon to finish them, a necklace with a girl's picture fell to the ground. The shared bond of fatherhood made Ban hesitate. He ultimately spared the assassin's life. Opening the trunk, Ban found the female lead and Seo inside. Now he needed to take them far away to start anew. But as Han-jae stepped out, the assassin in the black car regained consciousness. He climbed into the vehicle and sped away with Seo still trapped inside. Han-jae snatched a weapon, ready to shoot the tires, but Ban suddenly knocked her unconscious. Carrying her, he fled the scene urgently. Meanwhile, the assassin's merciless trainer had just landed. He stormed straight to their hideout, where Seo was imprisoned, alongside the crippled assassin teacher. Without a word, the boss walked to the hospital bed and coldly stabbed the gym teacher to death. When the manager tried to intervene, the boss lifted him mid-air, berating his incompetence and wasted medicine on useless trash. These curses reached Seo's ears. He couldn't help but laugh. The boss immediately shifted his attention to Seo, slowly approaching him. More terrifying than being kidnapped was the kidnapped person begging his captor to kill him. Yet the boss didn't want Seo dead. He intended to keep him as valuable prey. Before leaving, the boss strictly ordered his men not to harm the hostage. But no matter how many times he warned, these fools naturally wouldn't listen. The woman beside him stared coldly, while the fat idiot began his pitiful act. He not only complained about the toys he'd used 2 days ago being too fragile, but also grumbled that recent toys were becoming scarce. Perhaps because Seo wasn't attractive enough, the woman hesitated before ordering the fat man's execution. She emphasized killing him silently, without bloodshed, then turned and left. The scene terrified Seo. No matter how much he screamed, he couldn't stop the fat idiot's actions. The man activated a high-voltage device to torture him, but unexpectedly, this new toy had an extreme pain tolerance. Ordinary torture couldn't break Seo. Instead, he laughed even more arrogantly. Left with no choice, the fat man resorted to his final move, a method that could destroy both body and mind. Meanwhile, Officer Tu Seo's relative had begun investigating the assassin syndicate. From the gym teacher's case to the scene of Ban's fight with the driver, he followed the clues step by step. Then following the trail, Officer Tu quickly pinpointed their location. Though he knocked repeatedly with no response, he had to smash a window to enter. However, the assassins had already spotted him via surveillance cameras and were on high alert. Suddenly, Tu heard strange noises from a closet, followed by approaching footsteps. He immediately drew his gun, ready to fight to the death. Bullets clashed with kitchen knives in a fierce life-or-death struggle. Despite his weapon advantage, Tu was caught off guard. Bound by police regulations limiting his use of force, the situation grew dire. Though a former boxing champion, Tu was overpowered by the fat assassin and wounded in the shoulder, but evil could never triumph. Seizing a mop handle, he knocked the fat man unconscious in the assassin's hideout. Only the manager and short-haired woman remained in in the room, both now cautious. They armed themselves, cut the lights, and hid in darkness to ambush. Yet Tu's professional training allowed him to navigate the environment strategically. Using cover, he advanced towards So-Yo's location. When Tu finally found So-Yo, he simultaneously exposed himself to 3 assassins' gun barrels, a near-hopeless standoff. But death wasn't an option. He still had an unfulfilled promise. Gasping for breath, he unlocked So-Yo's handcuffs with his last strength. Then came a shocking revelation. Tu confessed he'd been So-Yo's mother's first love. One mistake had hurt her deeply, driving her to marry another man who later abused her relentlessly. Ultimately, she took her own life. That heartbreaking story made Officer Tu vow to care for So-Yo as his own son. Hearing this, So-Yo grieved his family's tragedy and silently promised to cherish his life to honor the deceased. Meanwhile, Ban's teammate waited in the car outside, only to be ambushed and executed by the boss's underlings. But the cruelty didn't end there. 3 assassins quietly approached a house. Suddenly, the boss drew his gun, ready to attack everyone inside. His horrified teammate tried to stop him, but the boss coldly shot him dead. Swinging his gun toward the long-haired assassin, he terrified the man into wetting himself. After a chilling pause, the boss erupted in a bone-chilling laugh, his eyes gleaming demonically. The 2 stood in the grass, laughing maniacally, oblivious to Ban and Han-Ge inside. Seeing the boss advance, Ban whispered to Han-Ge that if escape seemed impossible, end herself. Never let him capture her alive. Gunfire suddenly erupted as the boss stormed in casually, as if claiming ownership. Han-Ge stood in his path first. Ban tried a sneak attack, but the boss's seemingly relaxed body moved with terrifying speed, instantly aiming his gun at both. Ban guessed the boss didn't want Han-Ge to die easily, so he immediately used a grenade as leverage, threatening to kill all 3 unless Han-Ge was released. Shockingly, this suited the boss perfectly. He wanted Han-Ge to witness her loved one's brutal death firsthand. The boss released Han-Ge unharmed, but as she fled, the long-haired assassin spotted her and gave chase without hesitation. Ban's grenade was fake, a fact the boss soon realized. Instead of a lethal shot, he opted for torture to satisfy his madness. Enraged by this cruelty, Ban fought back desperately. Though his strength surged, his opponent felt no pain. Their battle became a mutual bloodbath with no quarter given. Meanwhile, Han-Ge easily overpowered her pursuer. Seeing her escape, the long-haired man fired wildly in frustration. Thanks to Officer Tu's sacrifice, So-Yo arrived at the scene. Following the gunshots, exhausted and broken, Ban staggered into the grass, weakly calling Han-Ge's name. The assassin showed no mercy. Suddenly, Han-Ge sensed something, memories of Ban flashing through her mind. Her gaze hardened. She fired a warning shot skyward, startling the long-haired assassin into rushing toward the sound. As he scrambled for his weapon, Han-Ge gave him no chance. Up to that point, she had never taken a life. As she hesitated, So-Yo appeared and helped Han-Ge make her choice. So-Yo mercilessly sent the assassin flying with one decisive blow. Meanwhile, the boss used Ban as bait, injecting him with stimulants to keep him conscious while waiting for Han-Ge to surrender herself. As expected, Han-Ge returned, clutching the sniper rifle she'd once used. This visibly excited the boss. Standing in front of Ban, the boss demanded proof. Was their past feud accidental or intentional? The choice was agonizing. If Han-Ge fired, the bullet might pierce both men. If she hesitated, the boss would torture Ban to death. With a triumphant grin, the boss watched as Ban weakly mouthed, "Shoot." Han-Ge had no choice. She pulled the trigger. Just when the story seemed over, as Han-Ge sobbed over Ban's body, the boss suddenly rose and shot So-Yo in the chest. He wanted Han-Ge to witness every loved one's death, crushing her spirit. Though she ultimately killed the boss, Han-Ge's psyche shattered as intended. Gun in hand, she prepared to end her own life until So-Yo, miraculously alive, stopped her. Rushing him to the hospital, their car sped through the first winter snow. Then So-Yo slumped against Han-Ge and slowly closed his eyes. The car finally stopped under a bridge. The camera zoomed in, the seats were empty. They'd escaped together. The story ends here. Thank you for watching.